Hello and welcome to BETV. We have this week with us Mr. Sudhanshu Vats, Group CEO and MD Viacom 18. Hello, sir.
Hello. How are you, Anushri?
Thank you, sir. I'm fine. How are you?
Very well, very well.
Thank you. So, sir, if I begin with, you had almost 170% jump in PAT last year, last fiscal to say. But I also saw your cost of content went up, your distribution cost went up because there were a lot of channel launches which also happened. Yet it was a huge jump in profit. So what would you attribute this to? Because clearly advertising and subscription money is coming into the business.
Yes. So Anushri, the way we are looking at our business is we are looking at profitable growth as the mantra for the business. And as you rightly pointed out, in the last year is what you've spoken about as a number for our PAT. But I must tell you that we've delivered profitable growth for last 6 years as we have grown substantially. And when I say we've grown, we've added channels. We've gone from 6 channels to 50 channels now. We've added new businesses. We've added digital. You are aware, film is now a very robust business. We also do 2 small businesses in the form of consumer products and live entertainment. So our philosophy has been that we will continue to drive growth. And when we drive growth, you see increase in costs because they are strictly not comparable at times because we are doing newer things. And you are absolutely right, there are costs which are incurred for placement, there are costs which are incurred on content. But I think we are committed to growing the market and growing our own portfolio very, very rapidly. And I think that's what you are seeing here.
So when you say growing our own portfolio, I know in the last 1 year, a lot of channels have come up, especially in the regional belt, right, sir? So how do you put together regional story for Viacom 18? There is a lot of emphasis on regional, on Voot as well, on news as well, and entertainment as well. And you are there in Kannada market, you are there in Tamil and Marathi. Besides that, which are the other markets you have in mind, sir?
So regional, you are absolutely right. You know, the mantra is driving regional aggressively. And you know, that mantra, Anushri, flows through from our TV business to our film business to our digital business. And what we are doing is we are continuing to expand our regional presence. We are continuing to widen and deepen. And what do I mean by that is basically in context of TV, it means having more channels. It means doing each of the channels doing better. And if you can see in Kannada market, which is our flagship market, we've now got Colors Kannada, we've got Colors Super, and last year, towards the end of last year, we introduced Colors Kannada Cinema.
Yeah, it's a 45% share.
Yeah, we've got
right,
a strong share there, you know, between these. So basically, we have very strong presence. What we've recently done is we've also introduced a Colors Gujarati Cinema channel, a Colors Bangla Cinema channel, which will be coming up. I think the commercial launch of that will be coming up shortly, but the channels are already up and running. So I think what is happening is that we are continuing to grow this.
Sure.
Our existing channels, if you look at Colors Marathi, the performance over last 6 months, we've grown viewership by over 60%. I think so that's the piece which we are working on our existing channels because in many of the markets we've come behind the competition and therefore we need to do a lot of catch up. The same philosophy applies of deepening and widening in movies. Yeah. And if you look at there, the first market we started with was Marathi where we are deepening our presence now. We've seen Bhai recently, then before that Ani Kashinath Ghanekar, Cycle, you know, all these films. Which are happening. So Marathi is something which is very important, but we are also widening our presence. Sure. So we've done our first Malayalam film, we've done our first Telugu film, we've done a Bengali film. So that's what will continue in films as well. And the Voot story you recently heard, I think our growth in regional consumption has been 6x. You will also start seeing regional originals from us. So all in all, driving regional robustly is very critical for us.
I have 2 follow-up questions on this. You seem to have followed a multi-channel strategy in Kannada, right? Would you replicate the same strategy in other regional belt? After you answer that, I'll ask you the other questions. Okay.
Yeah, so as I told you already that, you know, we are already plexing the other markets with we basically just done Colors Bangla Cinema, we've done Colors Gujarati Cinema where we've got entertainment channel. So you will see this happening. So we will continue to deepen our presence. Sure. The strategy we will follow in each market will be some kind of a bespoke strategy. It's not one shoe fits all, but we will continue to deepen our presence.
Sure. The other thing I wanted to ask was in movies, I'm sure, you know, deepening your presence in regional is great, but in terms of box office collection, regional is still a smaller market compared to Hindi where the bets are high and the returns are high. And you also have a distribution deal with Paramount, right? So when you look at the movies business as such, where do you think majority of the revenue is going to come from? Last year we saw Padmavat and Andhadhun doing exceptionally well. But when you create a plate for a year, how do you look at that strategy?
So Viacom 18 Studios and our Viacom 18 Motion Pictures, which basically does a lot of these films, have done a fantastic job. And you're absolutely right, both Padmavat and Andhadhun did exceedingly well. Andhadhun is one of the finest Hindi films on IMDb if you see ever. So I think that's the piece which we will continue that strategy. I think from a revenue point of view, Anushri, the majority of the piece will come from Hindi, at least in the foreseeable future. But the important thing is that regional markets, they might be small, but the two interesting things about regional markets are, first of all, they are the ability to experiment and stretch the envelope is even better. And that is something which is a strong DNA of our studio, and as you know that, in everything which we've done. And second, the return on investment and therefore profitability of regional cinema is much better. And finally, once we've tested the waters and we go into two of the large South markets, the revenue which starts flowing in from two of those markets is also big, because those are big markets.
Yeah, but South is also a very tricky market because there are already very big established players.
Yes.
So would you follow a strategy where you tie up with those established players, or you'll have a Viacom, because you also co-partner and co-produce a lot of movies, right?
Yes.
So would you follow a similar format in South?
Yes, we will basically, our focus will be on partnering, because I think that's the best way, because we don't want to and I think partnering is perhaps the best route to follow.
Yeah, okay, got it. The other one that I wanted to ask was content. Your content cost last fiscal went up almost 1000% when I saw the filings. The thing, from now, this year onwards, after the new pricing, it's a content driven game, right, sir? It was also written that in H1 certain content on GEC were shifted to H2 block given the market appetite and the consumption appetite. So how different is going to be this current year's strategy, or say the next 1 or 2 year strategy, given that the entire pricing regime, the way content is consumed, everything has changed, you know?
So you know that, Anushri, our market is a very dynamic market.
Correct.
And I think the new tariff order has clearly brought in a lot of dynamism and disruption.
Sure.
And I think what is interesting is I've always stated this, that in the long term it's good, but we've got to find a way of managing it in the short term. So there will be some disruption. We are ourselves evaluating this, calibrating it as we go forward, but our commitment to content, to quality content and doing more content will remain. So I think there is absolutely no doubt that we will continue to do that. And the interesting piece is that, in my opinion, as the new tariff order becomes more and more entrenched, it's the quality of content which will become important, Anushri, because the world is moving from only push to more push and pull. Digital, as you know, is largely pull. I think even TV will have to mirror a bit of that strategy. There will be push and pull and a bit of pull. And for that to happen, we need to do quality content.
Yeah, so that's why it will be a content driven game. So would we reach a point, like in the US it happens, that even the OTT players syndicate their content to broadcasters, and you already are making some very good content on Voot. So will we see, say, a Voot content being aired on, say, Colors? I'm just asking, is there a future of that, sir?
No, that future always exists. I don't know whether we are already doing that. I'll tell you how, because it's very interesting what we've done. We basically had a show called Silsila on Colors. And when we were stopping that program on Colors, we were continuing to see a lot of fandom and traction of that on Voot. So we continued it on Voot. And therefore, it sort of stops on TV, continues on Voot. And now as we speak, we've taken the generational jump, and there is a Silsila season 2, which has come on Voot. And the work which is now happening on Voot goes back onto Colors.
Oh, that's
so therefore already, as you are saying, some of these pieces so we are continuously looking at it. As far as Viacom 18 as a company is concerned, we are building a content powerhouse which is screen, platform and pipe agnostic. So I think we want to be storytellers, tell great stories, curate and create good stories. I think that's the job we have to do.
However, sir, you are also one of those players who have not opted for SVOD, but you said your kids' content would be put behind paywall after, I think, second quarter this fiscal, right?
Yes.
Will we also see some originals going behind paywall, because that's what will drive consumption? Not to mention, a lot of competitors thrive on English content also. So would that, if you have to give me the dynamics of it?
Yes, as I was just saying in the Voot conference as well, we will build a portfolio of Voot under our digital ventures business. So what you've seen at the moment is our advertising-led video on demand service, which is doing very well. But what we are also beta testing is our Voot Kids service, which goes well beyond watch. It's got watch, read, listen, learn. It's a very unique product that is going behind paywall. That is in beta as we speak. And we are also looking at a Voot freemium model where you enter free, and as you rightly said, for experience and more content, and including international content, we will be having a paywall. So I think that's the plan we have.
And the pricing, I know it's too early to ask for it, but if you look at the competition landscape, your pricing will be above, below, or just matching the current landscape. Netflix brought its pricing down, sir. So that's an indicator of the market.
No, I think we've not done enough work on pricing for me to comment at the moment, but we will be competitively priced, and we want to make a value proposition which is compelling for the consumer.
You also have a tie-up with D Sports, right? So right now, how do you look at sports as a content? There was something mentioned on esports on Voot, right? But you also have a huge powerhouse like a Reliance IMG working with you guys at this point. So will we see you developing leagues, or will we see you trying to bring leagues from outside? How the entire sports business will work out?
So we are evaluating sports, Anushree, and we piloted, we did Nidhas last year.
Sure.
You are absolutely right. We are doing certain things in partnership with some players you mentioned. I think we will continue to do that, and we will evaluate sport as we go forward. We are also trying to do esports. We will find niches which are available, which are good, which are profitable in the near term, and I think that's the piece which we will do as we go forward and gear ourselves for a play in sports.
Sure. So you also have English GECs, right? The problem with English GECs that I currently see is majority of the content is consumed online as against offline, right? Or on a linear TV. So, but your channel seems to have grown as compared to a lot of other channels. Again, how will you piece the English content piece together? You know, Colors Infinity had a lot of shows, but now those shows are also available on international OTT platforms where I would go and watch. So how do you bring that consumer to your channel, sir?
That's a very good question, Anushree. I think when it comes to English, I think what we are noticing is that, this consumer is becoming omni-screen first, and the desire of this consumer to actually watch on demand is higher. So what we are doing is, at the same time, as you rightly pointed out, television continues to grow. So what we are doing is we are piecing together a strategy where we will be looking at a more omni-channel, omni-screen kind of a presence when we go forward for English.
Okay. If I have to ask you that, how will you define FY 2019 for Viacom 18, and which will be the key areas besides content that you like to build? How will you say that, sir?
Are you talking about FY20 or the
FY,
one?
FY20,
yeah,
FY20.
Yeah, so FY20, I think, as I told you, I think the key thrust areas will be broadly three. The first thrust area would be continuing to drive regional very aggressively. We spoke about that, and I think that's the first piece which will remain. The second piece is we will continue to invest in our digital properties, and we spoke about that as well, continuing to build the portfolio for digital. And finally, we will continue to dial up more content, even in our languages where we are present, including more content in Hindi, so that we develop a stronger library as we go forward. Those are the key threats.
No more channel launches right now at this point in time?
You will continue to see some of them as we go forward. I think, that's what will happen.
Will we also see a second Hindi GEC or a second regional GEC in certain market, or regional movies?
So regional movies, I spoke to you already about. I think so we are continually keep evaluating. I never give this thing, so we will look at forward-looking this thing on it. But we will continue to evaluate what is right. But all we are committed to is more content. So we will definitely do more content. How do we serve that content, in what form, how do we go about it will change from time to time.
One last question on Voot, sir. We were talking about how a consumer is spending more than 45 minutes per day on Voot, and you said the MAU is about 55 million per month. When you have to grow it, obviously content will drive the consumption, but marketing and advertising, that's cost of consumer acquisition, right? How do you look at that aspect? How much will be spent on marketing and promoting each show, or that entire jigsaw? How will you solve that puzzle, sir?
Very good question again. I think what we are doing on marketing is, and in our conference we again touched upon it. There is basically a tool called Maverick, which we are deploying. I think moving forward, this is the first place where we may move to a AI approach to marketing. We may actually have marketing being done by, so therefore bringing less and less humans to try and do marketing. So there's a lot of experimentation which we are doing so that we deliver better ROI. But at the same time, I think the key thing is we also spoke about Voot Studio. So I think the thing which we want to do is to partner with brands to be able to give solutions which are more holistic. And I think that's the second approach which we are doing. So it's a combination of more effective marketing, better ROI on marketing, and use of machine learning and AI on marketing, at the same time developing brand solutions, which will be very useful.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure to have you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank you,
Anushri.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.